Hey there, toy collector friends and Transformers fans alike. Welcome back to my next video in the series looking at Deconstructing Devastator. So this is the Unite Warriors set. And I'm very, very clear that this is the Takara Tomy iteration of the Combiner Wars version of the Constructicons. So we've already taken a look at the G1 iteration, and now we've upscaled significantly to what the Combiner Wars figures came as. And I got this as a single set, and I got it as a surprise impulse buy when I was visiting In Demand Toys on their open day, which was amazing. And this was available, actually this alongside the Combiner Wars version was available. I did a bit of Googling, as of course one does, and it turns out that the Unite Warriors version of this set is allegedly significantly better in terms of some of the deco and some of the articulation than the Combiner Wars. Therefore, I hopefully understandably picked up the Combiner Wars, the Unite Warriors version, and here they are. And I've arranged them in the same way that I arranged the G1 version. So we'll take a little look first of all at their vehicle modes, which are significantly larger than the G1 versions, as you can see. And then we'll attach the weapon modes, like sort of the additional stuff that comes, essentially all the Devastator bits and pieces. We'll attach those, and then we'll get them into individual robot mode, and then we'll get them into Devastator mode. I originally thought I might do this in two videos because they're so large, but I think what I might do is do a separate playlist for the Unite Warriors, where we can look at each one of them in a bit more detail. And so on and so forth. So let's kick off, because these are, I was going to, in last time, if you remember, I sort of put them in the middle to have a look at them. But with Long Haul here, it's just too much. He's just too big. I mean, he's probably more in scale, but he's huge. Anyway, let's get this iteration of Bone Crusher in hand. So he's got some lovely detailing, some lovely sort of panel detailing there, purple for the windows, Decepticon logo on the what do we call that, the scoop, the shovel, I don't know. There is a bit of additional articulation, I think, there as well, but it's supposed to sit like that, I think. Again, that's something I can explore in a bit more detail when I look at them individually in the future. Purple detailing there. There's rollers here and here, so that he can actually roll along, which is nice. And not a lot of robot detailing underneath, so you wouldn't necessarily know it's a robot in disguise, would you? There's a lot of heft and chunkiness to this mode, which I think is really great. So yeah, 100% here for that version of Bone Crusher. Pop you back down there. And then we have their version of Hook. And again, rolls nicely on these wheels. They're all pegged in. The pegs are green, which is a little bit of a shame. It'd be nice if they were silver to match the wheels, but I'm just being pernickety. The hook element rises up, I was going to say, it does articulate round and round, but it doesn't. There's no swivel on the hook. It just goes up and down, and it also doesn't extend out, I'm afraid. But the detailing on the hook is very nice. Nice silver paint there on the end. It's purple intermixed with the Constructicon green. Again, that motif of the silver paneling is throughout. Nice big Decepticon logo there over the cab, and we do see the purple windows throughout. We also have some nice silver detailing on the front, looking underneath. This is a bit more obviously robot-y. I think that might need to be a bit short. Oh no, it's not. It doesn't seem to move. Looks a bit robot chesty and some tucked in robot feety. But what do I know? I might be wrong. But yeah, so that is Hook in his vehicle mode, and they're all very substantial and they all really hold together terribly well. Next up we have Scavenger. Again, purple treads, complete with rollers to enable us to have him rolling along. very nicely. The hook has quite a bit of articulation actually. It's got some forward motion. The bucket itself doesn't, but there is quite a bit of articulation options there, and some nice piston, a nice sort of hydraulic piston pulled out in silver there. It's artificial, lots of nice detailing. And again, talking of the detailing, got some red lights there with silver plating across the piece, and the purple highlights, again the window, Decepticon logo, and the purple treads. Nice bit of sort of red there. Again, underneath, you wouldn't really know unless you knew that it was there was a robot hiding in there. So again, yeah, really nice, really nice. This big chunky thing next. This is huge. This is redonkulous. I mean, actually, I've had to zoom out in order to get all of these in. But yeah, so this is long haul, and again, absolutely huge. The interesting thing here with long haul is there's not an awful lot of space to stick stuff. So if he was actively working on a construction site, where are you putting stuff? Nowhere. It's crazy. But it's really heavy. All the wheels, well, the front wheels look like they're pinned in, and then the ones at the back are pegged in. You've also got different trims, which is a bit odd. So I don't know why they've done that. But nevertheless, they have. You can see a little cab there with the purple windows. But yeah, I think this is, again, a really lovely vehicle. And I think, obviously, G1 was kind of, you know, it's an issue of how accurate are the G1 scales ever really going to be. But I think this has a real sense that these are more workforce accurate, if that makes sense. So here we have Scrapper, leader of the Constructicons, with his digger mode. So that works there nicely. Does it have any other articulation? Doesn't look like it does. So just up and down, straight up and down. Again with the green pegs, different pegs, but nevertheless green pegs. Silver paint work. The purple highlights, the purple windows, and again, yeah, very hefty indeed. And then the slightly controversial figure, and I think one of the ones that's my favourite figures. This is Mixmaster, obviously. Now, Mixmaster in the Unite Warriors version has been slightly repainted and retooled to the significant. Well, I say slightly. Some may say significantly. To the Combiner Wars version, because this section on the Combiner Wars version, apparently, just knock that there so I don't keep hitting myself on it, this is the rear, this is the back, and this is the front. This is the front of Mixmaster. Now, I don't know about you, and this is probably old news to a lot of people, but I don't know many cement mixers that drive with this facing the wrong way. But what Unite Warriors have done is they've sort of given this section a paint job, so it now actually could be the front, even down to a Decepticon logo there on that plating. So you have got purple plating there. You've got some purple canisters there. You've got the drum is purple. Some lovely detailing here with the ladder going up, which again gives you some sense of scale against humans. The drums, the nice sort of entry point there, and a slippage tank there that then feeds down. So, and there's some nice pipe work here. So really, again, it's a very nicely detailed piece. I think if I'd got the Combiner Wars and it was decoed up that this was the front, I'd probably be really upset because it just so blatantly isn't. But yeah, so I'm lucky enough that I didn't get that. I've got the Unite Warriors, and I'm taking that as red. So this was their essential basic vehicle modes, and I'm very enamoured with this. I really like how this set looks. So the next thing for me to do is to crack out these various pieces and see how I turn them into the weaponized modes for their vehicles. So don't touch that dial. And as if by magic, here we are all weaponized up. Now, interestingly, and unlike the G1 version, this was a mistake on my part. The Devastator, and you were probably screaming it at me just prior to that cut there. The Devastator parts don't attach to the individuals. They do have particular places to keep their own weapons, which I've put on there, but all of the Devastator parts, interestingly, all attach to Longhaul. So despite me saying that you can't fit much in his sort of dumpster bit at the back, turns out you can. So we'll get to that. We'll probably do that last, I think, just because of the massive stuff there. So just to show you the weaponized versions of this, there we have Bone Crusher with his weapon, his handgun that attaches to the side there, which doesn't really give it, it sort of does give a clear line of shot, but I'm also worried about that there. There's a bit of that on these here. So with Hook, we have the weapon that attaches here on the side of that section, so it can elevate up and down there and fire at will. So that's a nice handy place to keep your gun. Here on Scavenger, it fits just on the back there. Again, this one does point directly at the cab, so not too sure about that, but presumably we could rotate it round should we need to attack anyone. Coming to Scrapper next, his rifle fits there, which does give you more or less a line of sight if you cheat it to the front, but yeah, that's where his rifle sits. Very nice. And then over here we have Mixmaster with his gun sitting on top of the front cab. The front cab, everyone. Okay, so that's that. And then we have, goodness gracious me, we have Longhaul with these various pieces attached. Now this piece, according to the instructions, looks like it should be on sideways, but I don't really like that, because then at least this way it can have weapons firing forwards, because otherwise, you know, you're missing out. The two parts that form Devastator's cannon fit really neatly inside there. These two, which also you can then articulate up and out as missile pods, which can also be used as handheld missile pods elsewhere. They sit neatly there, and they have convert, I believe, to the hands of Devastator. And then the wing section here, which again part of the chest plate, just fits neatly there. And Longhaul's actual weapon tabs in very nicely on the side there. So with, again, clear line of sight. So actually, he goes from being perhaps the most useless construction vehicle to the most heavily armoured one, which is just what you need when you're, you know, not when you're building stuff, when you're blowing it up. So that is the weaponized versions of the Constructicons as part of the Unite Warriors range. The next thing I'm going to do is transform them up into robot mode, and then we can have a look at them there and see what they look like armored up. So whilst I'm off doing that, please take a second to like the video, and if you could drop a free subscription to the channel as well, it would mean the absolute world to me. I'm desperately trying to get to my now new subscriber milestone. And so anyone watching this that hasn't subscribed, if you can, it's completely free. There's no obligation to watch every video. I know you hear every YouTube person saying this, and you just sort of turn off to it, and I totally understand that. I do the same thing myself, if I'm honest. But it really, really does make a difference to the channel. It helps get the breadth of viewership up. So that would be in and of itself fantastic. Anyway, if you can, you can. If you don't wish to, that's absolutely fine. I'm just glad to have you along for the journey. Don't disappear. I shall be back using the magic of the internet with these guys transformed up into their robot modes any second now. So, being pragmatic, having changed them all up into their robot modes, it becomes very apparent I can't fit them all in. They're just too big. None of them bigger than our friend here, Longhaul. Now they're an interesting bunch, these guys, because some of them are really stiff because they're technically very new out of the box. But within that stiffness, there are also some quite loose elements, which we'll come on to, which did make some of the transformations a little tiresome. I don't mind admitting. But here we have Longhaul, and he is a beast. He has elbow articulation, bicep articulation, not Not much going on in the fists though, but it can hold his gun and this aspect of Devastator's gun. He does have head articulation, although it's very stiff. He does have, unless I'm lying to you, I'm sure he does because I'm sure I used it. He has waist articulation, which you can hear there. He has dodgy knee articulation because he's quite a stumpy little chap, as you can see. And he does have, you might be able to see it there. He does have some ankle elevation. His shoulders do not want to stay up, which is not great. So very stiff in lots of places, but again loose around there. He's quite streamlined considering what he looked like before, and his backpack is literally just the dump truck element, which also you can see there all those spaces where he held all the previous weapons when he was in dump truck mode. But he can also then use those to carry the individual black weapons, the sort of handheld pistols of the Constructicons when they're in Devastator mode, which is something I recently discovered reading the stuff. I haven't had him in Devastator mode yet. That's the next part. But taking a look at the detailing on here, I do think it's really great. I mean, the face, the head sculpt is tremendous. The panel working is really, really good. You do get a sense that he is a stocky, no-nonsense monster. I know some people sort of go, oh, he's too stocky, he's like a brick. I would just reflect back on what we had as G1, where, you know, a brick was, back in G1 day, a brick was the height of articulation. So I get that he's not the most attractive looking, but then we haven't even looked at Studio Series 69 yet, which is the Michael Bay Devastator and the individual bots for that. But he does have posability. He can hold the guns. I mean, there is scope to do photography with him in robot mode, and he does look the part. So he's a brute. What can I tell you? And he looks it. And the transformation was fun, simple, straightforward, and yeah, I really liked it. So there's not really much I can say other than he is a brute, but it does give you a sense, especially if I put him next to, for example, here we have Commander Class Rodimus Prime, and he towers. I can literally fit him in front. Their feet are together. He towers over Commander Class Rodimus Prime. So, that'll tell you everything you need to know about that. And that's before he goes into Devastator mode. So I'm really don't know what to make of what we're going to get there. So let's take him out of the picture for now. And in we shall pop, just picking him up. In we shall pop, apologies, Hook. Now Hook again doesn't seem to want to stand up properly. I'm not too sure why not. There we go, seems to be doing the trick there. Again, limited articulation. Let's try and zoom in a little bit more. A really nice head sculpt. Again, has all of the articulation you would expect for almost a modern class figure, but again, there is a bit of a nasty cut in the arms where the joints are. But again, this is pre-Studio Series engineering. This is, I think going back maybe 10-15 years ish at the time of recording. So for what it was of its time, I don't think we can complain too much. He does have a really nice head sculpt. I think the detailing on the chest is very nice. It's very to me it's very sort of G1 cartoon accurate, which I like. I think that's probably should be, oh maybe not. Oh, I know, that's I think that's a transformation joint for Devastator. That doesn't look. I love the silver on the legs. I think that's something that isn't in place on the Combiner Wars version. I think that's Unite Warriors piece of paintwork. So let me just pop him back down there. Now I'll give him the full 360 without my meaty fingers in the way. Again, you can see the backpack, pretty slim, not much to talk about. He does, of course, have that hook hanging all the way down, but it does provide a bit of additional standing support, which is somewhat reminiscent of his G1 counterpart. So I can't complain about that particularly. Again, it's a shame about those arms, but at least they have articulation. And again, as I understand it, articulation was a bit of a sore point with the Combiner Wars version. So I shall now swap him out and bring in, who should we bring in next? Let's bring in a Scavenger. Scavenger is helpfully quite close. Again, let's go straight for the face. A really nice robotic, no nonsense head sculpt. I hope you can see it. I don't know if you can. I'll try and get a bit nearer. Those are actually red eyes. They don't look very red here, but they are actually red eyes. Again, the detailing is excellent on the chest. The waist, again, very stiff in the waist. So getting that transformation done was borderline challenging because of the waist. But what's ironic is everything was really stiff. Once I got it in place, the legs became, you actually are not doing it now, but they actually became a little bit loose around the joints, but they seem to be holding rather well now. Again, he can hold this weapon system here without too much kerfuffle. He's got his own little blaster there. I'll give you a bit of a guided tour. There around the back is his, what would you call it, the scoop element of his vehicle mode, but it has to be somewhere. And again, it's G1 accurate. It's not a problem. And it doesn't, I know it sort of sticks out like that, but it doesn't feel untidy. It doesn't feel like it's a messy transformation. Be nice if he was a little bit more forwards. There you go. But yeah, I think, again, another very nice figure that I really can't complain about. I think it looks really great. And again, size-wise, they all are of a certain sort of scale that makes me think Devastator is going to be, when I think about G1 Devastator, I think, oh my goodness me, what are we going to get here? Right, so next up, we have, there we go. Will you stand up? So again, yeah, another wonderfully well posable figure. Again, can hold these weapons. It's on a little doodah, so it moves. So, and he can hold it. The arms are sufficiently stiff for that not to be a problem. So I'm again really loving this. The aesthetic of it all, the designs here. We can see as we go around the back of Bone Crusher, we can see the articulation in the legs, which again very well hidden in vehicle mode. It's quite nice how the motif of the corrugation, which is really the tracks here, sort of follows up the back of the body, so it actually looks like it's his aesthetic. Well, it is his aesthetic, to be fair. But again, really nice, holds together very well. And I think they really nail these face sculpts with the silver paint and the red eyes, and the variety of head sculpts as well. It's not like we've just got the one look and it's just replicated over and over again. So let's get him out of the way and bring in a Scrapper. And again, I am aware I'm doing this quite quickly. That probably might not feel like it, but I'm not really going through the figures in any great detail because I'm conscious that the main event in this sort of video is going to be what it looks like as they look like as Devastator. But again, you see here he can hold that twin blade weapon, whether it's a shield or multiple. We think it's got multiple firing opportunities. Now I thought I could twist this so you can hold it like that. Yeah, you can. So there's again, there's lots of scope for dynamic posing with these figures, and the feet all have ankle tilts. So again, it's a very nicely done. I'll just give you the 360. Again, the main part of the equipment is stowed on the back, but not in any fashion that's unappealing. Bit of empty space there in the back of the legs, but not too drastic, I have to say. But let's get him in for a bit of a closer look, certainly at that sculpting as we go up. The lovely silver on the thighs, silver on the chest unit, and again, the head sculpt is predominantly black, but there's a sort of dark metallic grey for the sort of face shield, and we do have those super red eyes. I think you can just about see the red eyes there, and I go super zoomed in. But again, yeah, I really think they've done Unite Warriors. Look, this scrapper looks really, really good. So it just remains for us to visit our last component part of this set, which of course is Mixmaster. And again, Mixmaster not letting the side down. The head sculpt is a bit more complex. Now in the original G1 toy, you might remember this had an attachable weapon here for above his head, and it's kind of mirrored in this design, but we can't attach anything to it. It does give his head slightly limited mobility, but you can wiggle it from side to side. He can hold this unit as weapon / shield, and of course he has his own blaster. The lovely purple and green detailing really pops, I think. There's a little less silver in robot mode here. We've got some on the knees. Again, he's got, again, I'm saying it for all of them, the articulation is basic, but it's adequate, and certainly a damn sight more than we got for G1. And I know that this isn't G1 and this is, you'd expect more, but by the same token, they're going for G1 aesthetics with these, and I think that they've actually managed to achieve that. Again, this hanging off the back, couldn't get much more G1 than that, really, could we? So that does create a little bit of a situation around the back, but otherwise legs are filled in. If you can see them there, let's pick it up slightly so you can see that the legs are filled in. The backpack otherwise is quite flush to the body. There's nothing that sticks out and makes him look overly cumbersome. Yeah, I think Mixmaster, as part of this pantheon of Constructicon figures, does an exceptionally good job of holding his own. So we've seen them in their vehicle modes. We've seen them weaponized up in their vehicle modes. We've seen them in their robot modes. So it just leaves me now the responsibility to convert them into Devastator. And here he is, all transformed into Devastator. I won't lie, this took a while. I'm just going to pan down so you can see exactly how large this guy is. There's a lot of clever engineering, I will say. I think it's clever engineering. There are some points of contention. This is really hard to attach. You know, you can't, your alignment has to be bang on, or this is not going to attach. The gun is stable. He can hold the gun. This is the conjoined gun. I can't really do it with one-handed because his ratchets are quite tight, but I'll take the gun out. That's the gun conjoined together. But you know what that looks like. There is Devastator has hand articulation. You can rotate it as well. As I say, there's a limited amount I can do with one hand here, but I'm doing it as best I can. So it's got shoulder articulation, elbow, same on both hands. There is waist articulation. He's got little skirt here that can move. He's got ratcheted joints in his thigh, in his hips and his knees, and he's pretty sturdy. There's a very, I'm going to just show you this because I've seen people do videos of this. I never seen anyone mention it, and I'm sure they must have done, but I've never seen anyone mention it. But his little fists come out to form heels, which I just think is really nice. So it's not just the back of the legs. There is actually some some designated element of the fist that is actually like a heel spur. So I really like that. That stays there. Nice gimmick. I'm just going to sort of zoom in a bit for you here because that's going to be easier than me manhandling it. So this is his. You can rotate his head, but you have options again. You can lift this up. You can flick up his visor, pop this down, and then Devastator's got eyes. So you've got both iterations of the cartoon version available in one figure, and I thought that was really nice. And apparently that isn't something, that's not a feature that is available on the Combiner Wars. That's unique to the Unite Warriors format. So again, a massive Devastator. And again, part of me looking at this is because I know we've got Studio Series 86 Devastator coming soon as part of the latest lineup, and I wanted to really sort of see how these all measure up. And and I've not received any of those yet, but I think the first thing to do to show how these measure up, and it feels almost embarrassing, is to put G1 Devastator in front of Unite Warriors. Unite Warriors Devastator, and you can see there he comes up to below his waist, midway through his thighs. So that is saying something, I think. It's an amazing and very, very, very impressive figure. I'd show you all the panel detailing, but you've seen it all pretty much because of the robot modes. But I just thought it was very intriguing to sort of put the two things together. Oops, you see, none of them like those chest units. They just don't want to stay on. G1 chest units just falling off. Honestly, who'd be a combiner? But yeah, so here we have Combiner Wars, well actually Unite Warriors Devastator. Did you collect this? What did you think of it? How do you think it compares to this massive little guy? Looks even more skinny without the chest plate. And are you looking forward to Studio Series 86? And I think the next one I'm going to start looking at is the Bayverse Devastator, because I managed to pick up the collector's box set of the Studio Series 69, which was Devastator with all the component parts. So we'll check that out in the near future on this playlist. But yeah, thanks for sticking around. I know it's been a long video, but there's a lot here. This is why I nearly did it in 2 videos and thought, no, you can take it. So great. I very much look forward to seeing you in a future video. As I mentioned earlier, if you haven't yet subscribed, please do. Really helps the channel, and it means you can have a poke around and see if there's anything else that may take your fancy and that you won't miss any future videos. Still, I'm just glad you've been here. I'm glad you spent the last, half an hour or so with me. And it just remains for me to say that a thing of beauty, a massive, massive thing of beauty, and his little friend, truly are toys forever. Take care. Bye-bye for now.